Welcome back, everyone, to the Hearthstone Grandmasters for the Americas region with myself, Rodan, and our special guest, Doa, who,
Hello.
graciously was able to step in while TJ Sanders was off doing adult things like, having his second child of the family.
I think that
Best of luck,
qualifies.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, best wishes to TJ and his family. We obviously miss him a lot. Really looking forward to having him back on that broadcast for real, though. In the meantime, though, we've been getting ready for the transitionary period here in the round robins to the playoffs / relegation brackets. Coming up next, we got Muzzy versus PapaJason, two players looking to see if they can either cement their position or get out of it. Muzzy in a pretty good spot. If he can get this win, his last match for round robin will book him a spot in the top 4 and get himself to the playoffs. If PapaJason loses here, he also is in danger of potentially being in relegation. So a crucial series for both these players here.
Yeah, kind of two players on the opposite ends of the spectrum in Group B. Muzzy's got 4 wins. Just needs a little bit more to, like you said, guarantee himself in the spot in the playoffs. And then PapaJason kind of fighting for his life a little bit. And I think it becomes even more important now that Purple was able to get that win earlier.
Yes, Purple getting that win was really crucial because now PapaJason, if he loses here, would be the sole possessor of last place unless ETC also loses, in which case we set ourselves up for a potential 4-way tie for last place. Or maybe a better, more optimistic way to say it is for 6th place. It's going to be really interesting to see how this all shapes up. But most important thing is just win.
Right. I think an interesting thing with this series going into it is that PapaJason's Warrior actually did get through, Muzzy banning the Demon Hunters. That's the 2nd time today we've seen the Warrior allowed to be played. What do you think about that? This matchup between these two players in particular, even if we don't have the Warrior in game number 1.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing here, like looking at how the Warriors have just been allowed or banned. And, I think when it comes down to it, Warrior, in my book, is an auto ban. I will not allow it through, largely because, again, its matchup spread is so consistent. I'm sure even the decks that are hard targeting it, like Priest, we're not able to get wins consistently against the Priest. Yeah. Or, sorry, the Warrior. So I feel like it would be foolish to let it up.
It's a little bit too much of a Swiss Army knife of a deck right now.
Yeah, that's a really good way to describe it, I would say. Yeah. And so now we're going to go into our first match, Quest Warlock versus the Stealth Rogue, Stealth Galacron Rogue. Stealth Galacron Rogue has a lot more aggressive tools, primarily anchored by cards like Skyvateer and the Mistress. And you're able to get onto the board very quickly and leverage some of Rogue's best tools, which are to, of course, be able to get damage out early. So, have you gotten a chance to see this deck list in action yet, though? And if so, what do you think about it?
Oh, the stealth list for Rogue, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I kind of like it. I haven't played it myself yet, but I tend to trend towards the more aggressive versions of every deck anyway. So I like it. And I think stealth as a mechanic, honestly, in the history of Hearthstone, has been something that hasn't been explored as much as I kind of wanted to see. So it's cool to see a list that kind of relies more on that mechanic in particular than some of the other ones. So I think it's neat. I'm not super experienced with it, but from the first glances I've had of it over the last few weeks, and running into it once in a while on the ladder, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and now that Muzzy has full knowledge of what kind of start his opponent has, is he going to choose to still be tapping as aggressively he is? There's no reason not to with his Questing Explorer in hand.
Of course.
Also, I would say that one card that's particularly hard to deal with for Rogue, if you're not playing the secret version, is Abyssal Summoner. It seems like you have to go through the hard way many times because Flick, while it answers the big threat, it doesn't actually take out the other Abyssal Summoners. They can just keep pushing it out.
That's a really good point. Yeah, that's one of the cases where you're not going to be able to get rid of it in the deck. Looks like a medium Edwin coming out for PapaJason this turn, possibly? The Brotherhood shall prevail. All right. Sure. And so this is a little bit tricky, I suppose, for Muzzy to deal with if you think about what the Warlock might have in their hand as far as, like, Rain of Fire and things like that. It's like slightly outside of where that's comfortable to use. So it's an interesting play from PapaJason, isn't it? You know, you developed a 6/6, but with the knowledge that Warlock generally has a lot of board clears, but maybe a little bit trickier one at this point in the game. Or maybe not. Maybe he's actually just got this and Mortal Coil to clear it. Is that enough? That may be. Yeah. Actually, I believe it is, because it counts the damage before the Dark Skies comes on the hand. Yeah.
Nicely done by Muzzy
well,
there.
You go.
And PapaJason has no minion for that Faceless Corruptor to activate upon, so very annoying for him, but it's okay. He's got the Evil Miscreant. Thankfully, he's got some better plays than Coin Kronks, because Kronks obviously is not great when you have Galakron in hand already.
Yeah, seriously. All right. Just trying to get a little bit more invoking going on, fill the hand with another lackey or two. He finds her Draconic Lackey, okay. It's always nice. Yeah. Especially when you hit on a couple pretty decent tools like the Fellwing and the Azera. Fellwing can be cleared by kind of those generic sort of board clears that don't target anything specifically, and Azera comes really late, but with this Warlock deck, or, you know, going a little bit later, maybe Azera isn't a bad choice. What would you choose here? You went with the favorite.
Yes, good question.
I guess it's hard to answer that now that you've seen what the actual pro has chosen. Like, do I go against what the pro did, or do I just be like, yeah, I would do that too?
I think that, you know, building up the strongest board to get the Faceless Corruptor really clean is the highest priority here as the rogue. And I think that, you know, you also want to try to get ahead of whatever Muzzy's best possible play is, which is Abyssal Summoner. So I think either way, it would have turned out okay. But yeah, this definitely makes a lot of sense to me. Muzzy, I mean, I was thinking about Abyssal Summoner. I was talking about how it's a problematic card for Rogue to deal with if they don't have, you know, Blackjack Stunner available to them as a way to deal with it.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see why this is a hard wall stop.
Right.
Oof.
There's definitely ways to clear it, but none of them feel that good. You know, a lot of them involve throwing your Faceless Corruptor into something, maybe having to use a backstab to get that started.
Yeah, none of it's just like very reliable. That's the big issue that I'm like identifying right now. And like, if you want to kill it, you have to place Faceless Corruptor and throw everything into it.
Right. So the backstab first. And so at least this does save you, does let you have a couple minions left, I suppose. Does let you have that 4/4 on the board. So it is a full clear, and you can also use a Witchy Lackey. Let's see what he gets. Pulls a 5/5 out of it. All right. So
yeah, there's definitely honestly, worse things.
That worked about as well as it could have. I think you'd be pretty happy with that, given the circumstances, if you're PapaJason.
Yeah, I think that, like, you know, with the most important thing is just to be ahead on board. But the big problem that I'm kind of identifying here is that PapaJason really doesn't have his win condition really set yet. His Galakron isn't really invoked that significantly. He's scared on 2 cards, and once more introduced with a huge threat. Oh, this is tough.
Yeah. Because you don't have the tools you used to clear the last one. You don't have Flick in the hand. He's actually just going to drop Galakron.
Right.
Let's see what he gets.
That he has the way to deal with it. He finds an Eviscerate. That's huge.
Yeah, he actually does have the damage now. Wow. All right, might as well see what we get out of the Pharaoh Cat first, but it's going to be a Grand Mummy. Okay. But yeah, I mean, that works, right? Muzzy a little bit displeased with that.
Yeah, if I was Muzzy, I'd be pretty sad.
No surprise.
That's a really big moment.
Yeah.
Potentially in this game here, to swing things back over into the favor of the rogue. But it's not really like actually, that might be an exaggeration. It's not really like rogue is favored from this spot. It's just like it's harder.
No, it's definitely not a huge lead or anything at this point. I mean, rogue doesn't really have much of a board. Their Galakran didn't really go off as devastatingly as it could have. You'd have to worry about Kronks, I suppose, and like Gallywix now, but beyond those 2 things, if you can handle that, you can probably stretch the game out long enough to win it.
Right.
Thinking about Muzzy's turn right now, he's got a multitude of choices, which is what I think one of the more difficult things about playing this deck is that oftentimes you do have a very full hand, and you do have a lot of different ways to approach your turn. And this is one of those turns.
I mean, it looks like you can just develop a 6-drop here. Also, I wouldn't hate if he dumped another card so we can tap. But the most important thing is that now, these are the turns that are supposed to be the hardest for Warlock to survive consistently. And now when he's get to 9 mana onwards, he's back in the driver's seat of just like, I got a lot of really powerful plays coming up.
Right. PapaJason agonizing over his choices here. You could Shadow Step Kronks here.
You could Shadow Step Kronks, for sure. I mean, Kronks is such a good card that Shadow Stepping him isn't a bad option.
Oh,
This also does make it very vulnerable to a Twisting Nether, so to speak, so
yeah,
I'd like it less.
Because your Van Cleef is already gone. Galakrond is played. I guess Shadow Stepping Gallywix is probably stronger than Shadow Stepping Kronks in most cases. Although I don't have a huge sample size. Confirm that. Either way, he's going to get his board cleared by Dark Skies anyway. Another Brood Mother. So, it's like we were saying, where there's just a lot of strong, high health drops to come down from this Warlock that Rogue is just going to have to dedicate multiple cards to dealing with, and so you're just going to keep falling farther and farther behind.
Right. Seems to be kind of an eternal problem that a lot of these Rogue decks seem to have, which is they don't have a reliable way to get back into the game.
Yeah. Gotta bring back backspace, Rogue, I guess.
Gosh, that's a...
Yep. Let's go for
That's
Vase.
a name I haven't heard in a while. Woo.
Vase is a place for that one. Although I was casting Hearthstone in Korea when that deck was popular. They called it T6 Rogue because you just won on turn 6.
Yeah, that was like another way that people called it, just like being aggressive.
Yeah. Oh.
Jason finds a opportunity to pick up a heavy dragon or just more mid-range threats. I actually think that there's some weight to consider the other evasive Fellwing there.
Really?
These are dragons that are super hard to deal with as the Warlock. Deathwing, like, you would have to wait several turns before you can get value off of it.
Yeah. And you have to dump your hand and all that kind of stuff too. The game really wants to give him Deathwing though. Another Onyxia.
Are you sure? How about Deathwing now?
That's right. How
about Deathwing now?
You can make this choice again. Onyxia versus Deathwing. Make the right choice this time. I think he did though. I think picking Onyxia both times is the right choice.
Yeah.
Back over to Muzzy now. He's got to be close to completing that quest.
Yeah, he could finish it this turn.
Yeah.
The question is if he wants to capitalize off of cards like, for example, the Rain of Fire.
Right.
Seems a little excessive for him to do that right now.
Yes and no. I mean, you've got Twisting Nether to deal with the high health stuff that comes out. This is just a lot of low health stuff. Which that kind of does well against, so... I think if you're going to find a good use for Rain of Fire, now might be that time.
Okay, that's fair. I can see that.
And drops the Alexstrasza as well, so you get to develop an 8/8, so there's that. But as we can see, PapaJason in his hand has a lot of stuff he can throw down on the board.
Yeah, this looks real good for PapaJason to drop just proactive threat after proactive threat. The question becomes if there's an opportunity for Muzzy to just win the game straight up.
Exactly. What's the damage? Oh, he's so close to lethal, actually, between Malago, Soulfire, and Elixia. Or Onyxia, rather.
Source of damage. One source of damage off of lethal here.
Yeah.
He's not going to sweat it, too, because worst comes to worst. All he does is just trade the Alexstrasza, let the rest of the game just kind of develop ones.
Yeah. Completes the quest, of course. He has another Rain of Fire to take out all the 1/1s. Goes and uses the hero power.
Oh,
alright then.
How good is that?
Free Craze Netherwing.
mean, that's definitely being played.
Yeah, for sure. Do you go face, though, and try to set up some kind of lethal?
He's going for another plot twist. Oh no, the rope is burning.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he even going to get his hand back before the rope is done? It's going to be close.
Oh! Oh, I thought he had an opportunity to even just get lethal if he had Nether Breath plus change.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of throwing down the biggest board he can, but next turn, he's going to have quite a bit. There is Gallywix, but there are no lackeys in the hand. He'll have to tap for one. No lackeys on the board either, obviously. So what do? You're trying to figure out, okay, that's what you do. You just concede, I guess. But yeah, I mean, there was really no way you could put together lethal that turn, and you can't really deal with what your opponent has out on the board. So game one, going over to Muzzy.
Yeah, Muzzy, I like the way he played that a lot. He played plot twist very aggressively. He played plot twist in the way that conventionally that card is good, which is if you don't like your hand, full mulligan, so to speak.
Right.
And that's like a really, really powerful mechanic in the game. It's just that, like, for a while, Warlock couldn't afford to have done that because they didn't have like really good rebound mechanics. And now that they do, everything seems to be coming together for Warlock to just be one of the dominant classes in the game right now. So overall, Muzzy played that very well. PapaJason, I mean, the biggest criticism that I have for that is I'm not sure if Rogue's the bring. And this week, PapaJason, for the first time, has not brought a Highlander Hunter into his lineup. So he's going a little bit off his own script. But, you know, Muzzy is too. He's choosing to leave up Warrior. And again, that's an unusual choice you don't see very often.
Possibly a way to come back in the matchup as he is down a game. We'll see what happens in game number 2 here. It's going to end up being that Druid versus Warrior matchup. Muzzy with the Spell Druid, PapaJason piloting the Pain Warrior, as people like to call it. Yep. Sounds so much more serious than Enrage Warrior. I don't know.
Well, Enrage is no longer a keyword in Hearthstone, so
that is true.
You gotta stay at least thematic.
I guess so.
We can call it Enrage Warrior.
Angry Warrior. Guess Warrior's always angry though, huh?
Yeah. Or
Garrosh,
like
anyway.
Frustrated Warrior.
Yep. Miffed Warrior.
Miffed Warrior. Simp Warrior. I don't know. We can call it whatever you want.
Yep. Sky Raider is the draw. But what's the play for PapaJason?
See, okay, so if you want to get ahead of Druid here, coin Wormwall Challenger, something that you could also explore, but you don't have any ways to truly capitalize off of it.
Yeah, I mean, with 2 Wormwall Challengers in the hand, maybe coining one is the way to go. Although early on it is difficult for Druid to handle a 4 health minion. It usually does take multiple cards, and obviously if you use multiple cards to take out the Armor Smith, that's multiple armor being gained by your opponent.
Right.
So you're feeling pretty safe if you're PapaJason when you play this. You're like, well, I'm gonna almost certainly have access to this in future turns.
The only thing is that I don't know what you gain by playing this Armor Smith for tempo. Like, if your opponent summons a 3/2 through Rising Winds or Power of the Wild, you just kill it with your Livewire Lance.
Sure.
And it's like, are you trying to deal the damage so you can just kind of pressure your opponent? You're not really doing that with Armor Smith.
You just chip away. How aggressive does PapaJason want to be here? Not that aggressive. I suppose you want to save like the risky skipper turns for turns where you can have a chance at clearing out the Glowfly Swarm or something like that.
Right. That makes sense.
Muzzy, though, still kind of lacking some early game plays.
How?
Let's see. So, Glowfly Swarm comes out next turn. What's the best preemptive board against, or preemptive play against that? Is it just like Bog Beam the 110, so that way you can just make sure that it doesn't get copied very effectively? You're afraid
So
of
many
specifically like some kind of
contradictions.
Bloodsworn Mercenary Rampage play.
Yeah.
Actually, if you
Possibly.
Bog Beam the Warmaw Challenger, you might be helping it. incidentally.
Right, because then it's easier to copy, I guess.
Stand the time,
Right.
Ron.
PapaJason doesn't need to come up with his own source of damage or attack into one of your glowflies. Power of the Wild used just to produce the 3/2 Panther, actually, and make it able to trade with the Armorsmith. Battle Rage not super useful right now, but there is a Livewire Lance.
Right.
And PapaJason just kind of playing a slow, steady turn, but he's building up a really strong hand. That's gonna pop off later, I guess. No Dormu. Probably not the play, but
I mean, it is if you anticipate
You
Muzzy
never
to be
know.
super slow, but yeah, Alex Straza seems to be the best course of action here. Malagos does not actually have any spells besides Inner Rage, I think, to benefit from.
yeah. Alright, well. What do you go for? Looks like Overgrowth just to gain a little bit more mana. So both players kind of trying to build up to these big play turns. And PapaJason just, I feel like he's playing this very reactionary, you know, where he's like, I'm going to wait. There's the Inner Rage finally on the Warmaw Challenger, but for the most part, it's like, I'm going to wait and have my counter ready when the Glowfly Swarm comes in.
Oh,
Nice draws there, actually.
Oh,
Whoa,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, this double rampage.
Yeah, that's huge.
Oh,
Opts for the second Warmaw Challenger.
okay. You know, I was expecting the rampages because you get to push the 6 now, and if your opponent has to react to your big board. But I mean, this is a lot of stats on the board too, and I wonder what PapaJason wants to save this coin for, because clearly he's holding it to try and go for
How
some power play. He does have access to, for example, is Risky Skipper with 1 more mana to potentially sweep something up. But I mean that. I was kind of looking forward to that rampage play in some capacity. There.
Same. I mean, do you think that by not doing that, he's not pushing enough damage quickly enough? I suppose you could. That's my concern. But at the same time, when you think about what Druid has in terms of big board clears in this deck, there's not a ton.
Right.
So maybe you're okay.
Yeah. And now, like cards like
Stand the
the
time, Ron Lowe.
Armorsmith are a lot more vulnerable now.
Yeah. Oh, not the greatest beasts ever.
Pretty
Muzzy.
weak. Some of the weakest that you'll ever get.
Ironbark gives him one more chance. Oh, okay. All right.
All right.
Poison Cobra, so we're good
Yeah. It's actually very solid.
there. Yeah. Just making a really big minion as well. That's going to be annoying for Warrior to get through.
Yeah.
Good old Silverback Patriarch. All right. Welcome back.
That's right.
Never really went away, though.
He was always there, waiting. Waiting to be recognized by Senpai.
That's right.
I'll show you who's boss.
Finally, a meta where we get to see Silverback Patriarch again.
Yeah.
Not for, what, 7 years has he been in the meta. The Korkron Elite, again, will probably eliminate our poor Silverback Patriarch or Matriarch. I can't remember which it is. Hard to tell from the picture. Doesn't even need that, really.
Someone's gotta lead the charge.
But Jason's still thinking. Alright, yeah, Sky Raider.
Yes. I think the idea for PapaJason here is just simply to clear the board as much as he can, and just simply use his Blood Boil Brute to crash down to that Mount Cellar, and then let Druid refill if they have anything.
Right.
But, I mean, this also did wipe a lot of PapaJason's board.
PapaJason kind of shaking his head. You know, I'm kind of bummed that his board was able to be dealt with to begin with. But at the same time, yeah, you're right. PapaJason needing to give up quite a bit of the power he had, too. That said, Ysera Unleashed. Yeah, Muzzy nodding. He's like, yep. Yeah, that's a draw.
For the overflow. Wow.
That's a draw. And Overflow is going to be pulling out a lot of portals, like you said. All right, Corsair Cash is the draw from PapaJason. Still playing it kind of slow. Still sitting on those 2 rampages in his hand.
Yeah, I'm looking at the rampages. They look really good right now.
Yeah. I think now is the time. Now's the time to get angry, push things to face. That's what he's gonna do. All right, but we'll see how many dream portals pop up for Muzzy here.
Yeah. So this is kind of what we're talking about, where it's like PapaJason had a hard board to deal with the rampages, and now it gets even harder. But let's see what these dream portals do.
It's your turn.
Oh,
wow.
Saraku!
That is not bad.
Yeah.
All right,
that's
dream portal
real
number 2.
good.
All right, you'll take a 4/8. Why not?
Sure.
Yeah. All right, why not? Draw some more. Oh no.
Okay, that taunt is nice. Another taunt is nice.
Even nicer. And now PapaJason's wondering where those warrior decks with Brawl went.
Your demise.
Dude, it's been all big dragons for Muzzy so far.
Oh my god, he found a spell damage minion?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, do you even need to really clear anything?
So he can actually innervate in hero power here, so he can summon, or I guess he's just Power of the Wild. I mean, this is like a really big board. I like that too. I got a little tunneled on the dragon summons.
Yeah. Hard not to, right? But that is an enormous board for PapaJason to deal with, and I am not seeing a great way for him to handle it.
Yeah. We can kill off at least one taunt.
Sure.
Livewire Lance. Oh, Livewire Lance, Lackey into Brawl. There you go, Lackey into.
I guess it's possible. Oh, I got the Titanic Lackey instead. Well, he can make a very high health taunt out of his 916. But his 916 was going to run into one of the other taunts. I suppose it still could, but it's something, but it may not be enough. Probably not enough. Not with the Savage Roar in the hand of Muzzy on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good effort here by PapaJason.
Right.
It looks like he's gonna get pushed out of this one. Crystal Power. Okay, so we have. This has got to be lethal, right?
Oh, it's got to be. I have not counted it, but it seems like a lot of damage, doesn't it? 21, 27 on board. No, 29 rather. Yeah, so he's got plenty. Yep. PapaJason bowing out, and that's a 2-0 lead now for Muzzy in pretty quick succession in this game. Muzzy nod. He likes to do that nod. Is there a name for the Muzzy nod?
No. What would you suggest calling it here?
The Muzzy merciless face. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know anything. You were supposed to answer that question.
I'll think about it. I'll think about it and get back to you. How about that?
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
So the Demon Hunter left for Muzzy at this point.
Fast 2-0, and this has got to be bad for PapaJason's confidence. He has done the worst so far out of all the Grandmasters in both the combined Swiss and the round robin, right? One of the worst performances, and that's so hard. That's so hard to come back from mentally. It seems like overall PapaJason's kind of like run into a bunch of dead ends here.
Yeah, it's tough because I remember hanging out with PapaJason at Arlington earlier this year when we did the Masters tour there and we did the Player Summit, and he just struck me as someone that was just like happy to be there. You know, he never really spent years dreaming of being a pro gamer or something. He just found that he was really good at Hearthstone and made it to Grandmasters. And he just seemed thankful to be there and excited to play and compete. And so it's rough to see him having the results that he's had so far.
Yeah, he's a great guy, but he is on the path to also be in that bottom 2 spots in division here, and beating Muzzy 3 times in a row with Demon Hunter on Muzzy's side sounds like a tall order.
Definitely does. Yeah. Demon Hunter is one of those decks where, the current Demon Hunter is one of those decks where you'd expect it to at least be able to win 1 out of 3 games in its current state. It's the old, do you grab the Skull of Gul'dan question again. It's the same answer where it's like, in isolation, it's a great card compared to those other 2, right? But what's the play in this game?
I think so. I think so, because you're going to play all these other cards before Skull of Gul'dan. The problem with the previous times we've seen Skull of Gul'dan was that it was unlikely to be played anytime soon. It also kind of blocked a lot of other cards from being good in outcast positions.
Sure.
So if you play Volpara's Counter here, then Satyr Overseer's Twin Slice on the following turn, then you get Skull of Gul'dan ready for 6. So I like that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is one of the best things about Volpara's Scoundrel, is that it can discover Metamorphosis straight up.
Yeah. And that seems like the take, right? It makes his hand kind of expensive.
I grow impatient.
But is it really worth mana burning Warrior on turn 3, possibly? Yeah, it's got to be Metamorphosis.
Yeah, it's 10 damage.
Right.
I mean, if you kind of evaluate it through a lens of how much do you need to get to 30, Warrior's obviously going to be able to have a say in it, but you get to put out a lot of pressure real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my goodness, what a series of draws. So Muzzy has Satyr Overseer, Twin Slice this turn. You could play the Sidekick as well. Then next turn he uses Second Slice plus Glaive-Bound Depth. Then he Skulls of Gul'dan. Or if he doesn't need to, he can just go ahead and Metamorphosis for the win. You Skull afterwards. This is hard to stop. This is close to the nuts for the Demon Hunter.
So if we look at PapaJason's hand right now and figure out ways for him to kind of weather this storm, he's got a couple.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the mana to really execute on them right now, but you've got the Armor Smith, you've got the Risky Skipper.
Got to trade here.
He's got things like the Warmaul Champion. So yeah, he's trading, but if PapaJason has a big armor turn, maybe there's a chance to stabilize here.
Yeah, and there are plays available, right? We talk about Risky Skipper, Armor Smith, Battle Rage being the core of a lot of plays, and so PapaJason does have opportunities to gain big armor, and it's also added to the fact that he has a Bloodsworn Mercenary, but he's limited by mana crystals, and in a way, it's really funny that you mentioned Consume Magic, or Mana Burn. I also thought it would have been an effective card in this specific instance, where if Muzzy was able to be aggressive. But that being said, we also didn't see the pan out of Muzzy's hand.
Right.
And I think if Muzzy would be well, yeah, I would love to mana burn and develop and push tempo so he has fewer options. But this is an awkward spot. This is a very, very awkward spot.
Mostly because you just don't have a great way of dealing with the 6/4 on the other side, and you're just staring at so much damage. Yeah. The armor gain compared to the incoming damage feels pretty minimal.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
There's a way to deal with this without having to attack into it. Muzzy is so happy to see that. Look at him nod. You would have to use Risky Skipper and the Warmaul Challenger in a suboptimal way, but he would have been able to actually, I think, kill off this.
Oh no.
And now he's going to try to use Warmaul Challenge at the last second to clean it up.
I guess you have to, yeah. It would have been done otherwise. Is he dead now? Not quite yet.
No. And PapaJason has a bunch of minions on the board for Armor Smith and Risky Skipper, so this is... I mean, it is exactly what it is. It's a risk.
Yeah. And this may be kind of playing into PapaJason's hands, honestly, where Muzzy's taking the turn to say, all right, I'm just going to get you as close to dead as I possibly can and ignore your board, but now PapaJason, sitting up in his chair, man, he knows he has a chance to gain a lot of armor and get back in this game, maybe.
Yes. I mean, Muzzy's going to wait for it. He's going to be disappointed to see it.
Yeah, seriously.
That's hard. But remember, this was a generated metamorphosis.
Right.
Oh, this battle rage is going to be so good. Oh, he's going to go ahead and just copy it. That's also great, too, just to double up your armor.
Yep, I think being so low on life, now he's back up to 21 effectively, is in really good shape. Really good place.
And that's the kind of plays that you really need.
Yeah.
That we were talking about, like the Bloodsworn Mercenary on the Armorsmith, just to gain a bunch of life. And so, Muzzy was feeling good. Oh, my goodness, though. Hold on.
Wow.
There's an Altruist on the other side.
Yeah, there is. An Altruist as part of a Skull of Gul'dan play, too. So you know there's going to be a lot of cheap stuff for him to activate on next turn. That said, you're going to give your opponent a lot of armor with that, though.
Yeah, well, another problem, too, in Muzzy's mind is leaving up these many damage minions.
Yeah. For sure. Metamorphosis on a 1/2 Armorsmith. Oh. I guess it was a generated one, like you said, but it still does not feel great. I mean, I guess you battle rage here to see what you get, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, quite candidly, I don't know exactly how Muzzy expected this matchup to go. I think he was just really excited that he might have been able to beat Warrior without having with his Demon Hunter, which is probably his worst matchup for it.
I know, right? This is one of the reasons why you banned that Warrior, because, like we said before, it's a Swiss Army knife of decks where it really seems like it has an answer for almost any game state through either damage, through armor gain, through threats, and it's PapaJason effectively more health than he started the game at now, or exactly the same anyway. 30 effective.
So now that the damage has been done, how much do we lean into this Altruist situation?
Demon?
I think you probably just use the skull first, right? Or maybe not.
It's hard.
Okay. I guess it is hard. Now that you're down to 16 health, you're starting to worry a little bit more.
Right.
That's understandable. Battle Fiend. And you do kill the Armorsmith with the first pass. So there is that.
These in general don't seem particularly very good. Chaos Strike at least helps keep up. Actually allows him to use the Warglaives of Azeroth really effectively.
Right.
But having a cheap 1-drop also makes it so that way next turn he has efficient plays.
Sure. I like the freeze from the Frozen Shadow Weaver. You just equip the Warglaives, add only 2 mana, that is pretty good, and start to chip away at the armor that PapaJason has built up.
All right. Well, PapaJason has a lot of good stuff. And he's got a lot of health still. Livewire Lance absolutely needs to come crashing down on the Altruist.
You would hope so.
Surprisingly, the Demon Hunter is still able to put out a good amount of damage.
Yeah. Bomb Wrangler, and I suppose what you might be looking for at this point is your bombs to do enough damage to set up some sort of Grom lethal. Sky Raider, haha. Good old South Sea deckhand, but hey, he does have a weapon equipped.
Yep, and I mean,
So
it's charge damage, right? So it might every little bit helps in case PapaJason finds a way to activate Grom and get a little bit extra damage in.
Right.
So Muzzy,
Demons?
with Altruist gone, still has another wide board to deal with.
Something that, if Altruist is out, Demon Hunter can struggle with sometimes.
Yeah.
Many times. Another Skull of Gul'dan.
He's looking for I-Beam and other really effective plays here. Twin Slices. Twin Slices is a good draw, too.
Yeah, it'll help you get through the Bomb Wrangler with 1 hit at least.
Right, and that's the biggest thing. He's got 5 damage, 2 swings, that Battle Fiend becomes 4.
Right.
Satyr Overseer summons 2 things. Jeez, what a turn from this Demon Hunter.
Demon Hunter just continues to shock me in terms of how big of swing turns they can have with such a large collection of low mana spells.
Right.
It really is a interesting class in that regard.
PapaJason down to just 5 life. How did it come to this? He was at like over 30 armor.
I know, Muzzy's done like close to 60 damage to him this game. It's actually insane.
Yeah. And he is lacking any kind of damage dealer to enable this Grom for lethal.
Wait, 5? And then Grom. Yeah, because even I was thinking like maybe Grom plus Southsea Deckhand. His Enrage minion is frozen right now.
Yeah.
So maybe if he runs the bomb into a minion and it hits Muzzy for 4, then you can win.
Yeah, that's
right?
that's his only specific lethal out I see right now.
that might just be the only chance. Because aside from that, there's no way to like produce and explode more bombs or anything. If you duplicate the 5/2 that's damaged and frozen, I think the duplicate is also frozen, right?
Is he going for it?
I mean, what else do you do?
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Shield block.
No. Shield block?
Oh.
No, that's
and
not.
just like that, Muzzy
That's
finds a way to close out the game despite PapaJason gaining crazy amounts of life. Muzzy in disbelief himself as he is fading into the distance.
It's like his brain was so exploded by that series of events that he was fading into the Shadow Realm or something at that point.
Yeah.
Wow, that was serious.
In the final decisions that PapaJason chose to make too also was like some order stuff. He should attack with the weapon first, look at the lackey. There's this off chance that kind of like what you were saying, right? Like what if he found like a way to damage his own Grom and then push that extra damage and then hope for the Boombot lethal.
Right.
There, it was bad. It was bad. It was very, very, very low odds that PapaJason would win that game. Despite the fact that PapaJason had like the goods. I think that's like the best hand that you can really ask for as the warrior. It's just that Muzzy had an insane start. And that Tempo Demon Hunter, like you said, if in the right hands, can really just push that damage out and end the game quickly, despite how many nerfs it's received.
It was a really well played game by Muzzy, all 3 games actually. And you know, you look at their placing on the standings, Muzzy near the top, PapaJason now at the very bottom, and there definitely did seem to be a little bit of a skill gap between the players when we saw them play just now. So there you go.
Well, just like that, a fast 3-0 in the books. So we are going to take our final break of the day, hopefully, and then we're going to get to our last match, which is going to be a real fun one. So coming up, we have Frozen versus ETC to wrap up our first day of week number 7 here at Hearthstone Grandmasters for the Americas. We'll be right back.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.